Good morning and welcome to the Sunday Relevant Horse Racing Podcast. We are one day after the Kentucky Derby, and a friend of mine once said that, you can keep those big days and just give us an average everyday horse racing card, and I tend to agree with that. So, that being said, today doesn't feel like an average everyday horse racing card, despite the fact that it's a Sunday. We've got some nice graded stakes races on this card at Saratoga, which we're going to get into. So, without further ado, let's start the late pick five here. I am Russell Moore, and my partner is Mike Serio. Mike, how you doing? And what do you think about race 8 at Saratoga, which kicks off the late pick five?
I think that it's a deep race, not just in how many horses are in the race, but there's a lot to like, and it's one of the two that I'm probably going to be deep in. I really do like, obviously, I'm not throwing out the favorites 3, 4, 5. I am looking at two other horses to throw in there. The two, Thomas Shelby, he's trained by Wesley Ward. His last race was quite nice. Now, obviously, it was at training 14, but won pretty easy. With Ira Ortiz, who gets the mount again. He started off the layoff, could move forward with a higher figure somewhere in the 90s, which makes him a major player. And at 6-1, I think you're getting a decent price. The other horse is Creative Style. Again, a little bit cheaper. Ran in claiming 32. But first off the claim for Rob, who is 26%. Some of his better races, running 87, winning at claiming 32. He's a cut below this. But with the right trip, if you can close into a pretty quick pace, I think, at a bit of a price, he'll be there. The only thing that scares me is that the daily racing form also sticks him on top of several of the handicappers. And so that might play, especially at the first leg for pick 5, because the bettors have an opportunity to see the odds that you might not get a lot of return for him if he does win at 4-1 or 5-1.
So that's where you're going with that. I thought you were going to say if all the so-called experts picked him, then he's probably not that good. You're going the value, you're not going to get the value you deserve, which is, I think, true. Yeah. I definitely agree with your assessment of this race. I was going to mention the 9 as well because he's the best closer in the race. So as you pointed out, if they're moving fast up front, he's got a very good chance to come sailing by on the outside. So, yeah, I agree. I think it's a tough leg to kick the pick 5 off with. So, I certainly would recommend going deep in it. I'm actually doing a pick 4 and a pick 5 bet. In my pick 4 bet, obviously this race isn't included, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper in some of my pick 4 legs. But on my pick 5 bet, I'm going to have a couple of singles. Which brings me to the next race. In race 9, the 5 horse is going to be one of my singles. Beautiful memory. Mark Casey, who's had just an absolutely woeful, terrible meet. Something's got to break for this man at some time. And this would be a nice place to start. If he only gets maybe 2 wins for the whole meet, maybe he grabs the grade 1 spin away, which is what this race is, $250,000 race for 2-year-old fillies. This horse won as easy as could be at Churchill in its maiden race in May, which is pretty impressive for a 2-year-old to run that well in May, won by 10 lengths. Comes to Saratoga and runs in the Schuylerville in July, and I don't know what happened. Stumbled at the gate, pulled up, walked off the track, but the horse is obviously very talented. It attracts Jose Ortiz. It's got some nice works. I just have a feeling that this horse is going to put it together, and it's going to be a bright spot for Mark Casey for what's been an absolutely terrible Saratoga meet. Mike, do you agree with my assessment? Is the 5 gonna sail? Going to lay over this field here and win by open lengths, or are you going deep? What's your take?
So in the pick 5, I am going to take a bit of a stand here, obviously, because I'm deep in all the way, and I like doing a pick 4, like you're saying, where I can then go deep in there. So if I'm out of the pick 5, at least I'm through with a price in pick 4. The 5, when you have these juvenile races, sometimes they're just so talented, so fast, they just come out the gate running and nobody can catch them. But what you saw yesterday in the Iroquois at Churchill, with the Dale Romans horse, so I really like, because a lot of them, just like in this race, they won the maiden at first asking just to get their fast. But some of them still have no idea what they're supposed to do or how to win the right way. That Dale Romans horse yesterday in the maiden race was 4 or 5 off, closed in 1 by 5 easily. Now, fire wasn't huge, I know. But that's the type of tactical understanding that that horse has early on. And you don't, so what I would be looking for here for an upset special would be, is somebody going to let off Beautiful Memories and maybe 2 others that are flying and just can't carry a 7 furlongs and closes right into them. The problem is that you don't really know who is going to do that based on past performance. And even the 6th for Wesley Ward, Solana K, he looks to be off the pace, so his 2 races maiden, he made no move. He was just 2 off, 3 off, and just ran around in a circle. So he wasn't able to close against them.
It ran evenly.
It gives you the idea, what gives you any indication he'll be able to do that here? So I'm not sure who's going to do that. But the one horse that I'm most interested in is the 4. The Timothy Handler. Only because he's shipping in from a lesser track that people, the real blue blood force people, are just going to throw away just because, it's the best, you know. But the horse has won easy the way he should against that lesser company. It's obviously a class test, but it's all seat that you fit in here. I don't know if, I don't want the 4 to go up against the 5, the whole way around. I would like one of them to light off the right and then come with a run of the 3rd, but I just don't know. So in my pick 4, I'm going to have 4, 5, and the 3, and in my pick 5, I'm singling the 5.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I'm singling the 5 in the pick 4 and the pick 5. So if this horse goes down, it's not going to be a nice feeling. But that's horse racing, so that's the way. That's it. So let's go to race 10, the Honorable Misstakes, $150,000 race for fillies and mares. They're sprinting. What's your take here, Mr. Serio?
Clearly, the 1 in the 2. I mean, the 1 is a multiple graded stakes winner. Is third off the layoff, ran well in the 31 Ballerina. Blaine shows speed, could be out there, could come dancing back to catch. But the 2 horses that interest me, probably the most, but the 7, who is 20 for 31, first or second in his life. The horse runs every second time. Danny Gargan has had this horse before when he won the Grade 3 Sugar Swirl at Gulfstream Park by 6 3/4 in December. So there's some trading with this horse. This is a horse that's going to be out there with Blaine. The question is, can he carry it against this class of horse? Well, he won a Grade 3 very easily. He runs well every time. I think he'll be there. I think at 92 or even 5 to 1, they're going to bet come dancing like crazy. The last horse I will bring up, and just a little tidbit, is the 5 IJ. I don't know if he's good enough. This is a real class test for him, but he's Steve Asmussen. And his last race at Prairie Meadows, and you want to talk about a horse that they ignored based on where he ran last. This is one of them, Prairie Meadows. But he ran 6 and 108 and 4. That's race horse time. I don't care where you are. So if he has something like that in his repertoire here, and at this distance, he is 6 for 8, first or second with 5 wins. So the distance shouldn't be an issue. The question is, does Asmussen have him ready? And can he get a little bit of racing luck to be a huge price and might be involved late? I think he's worth a thought in here. Especially if you're singling with the memories, the beautiful memories. It might be interesting to throw him in the mix.
Sure. I think the 7 horse has the most speed in the race. I think the 7 is going to be in the front. I think the 2 is going to be, pushing or pressing, they call it. I think the 1 will be stalking. If they're going really fast up front, I think it sets it up for Pink Sands, which is the 3 horse with Jose Ortiz. I'm just trying to envision how this race plays out. So I didn't use your 5, Mike, despite the fact that I'm pretty deep here. I just felt like the buyers were a cut below, and the class was just a cut below. I just feel like, I mean, the horse did run nicely at last year over at Gulfstream Park in a Grade 3. Got a nice second, but I just feel like some of these horses in here are faster. But you make a good point. You make a good case for the horse, and it's like I told someone on Twitter yesterday. The higher the price, the longer the odds, the easier the horse is to bet. And the lower the odds, the harder it is to bet. So this is not a hard horse to bet because this horse is going to be 15 or 20 to 1. So this conversation alone makes me think about maybe adding this horse to at least my pick 5 ticket. So it's very, very interesting. All right, that's why I like these podcasts and these conversations. It opens your eyes to things you might have missed when you get a second opinion, and I hope that's why people listen. All right, let's move up to race 11. It's called the Lucky Coin. It's 5.5 furlongs on the turf here, and they're obviously sprinting. I think the one is obviously going to take all the money here. Shecky Shabazz, trained by Christophe Clement. You and me are both Clement fans. This horse, let's face it, right? If everyone in this race runs their best race, the one's going to win the race. Is that a fair assessment in your opinion?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Based on numbers and all that. Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm obviously using the one, and I also like the 8 in here because I think the 8 is the best closer in the race. Pulsate with Luis Saez. So, if the pace falls apart, which can happen quite often in these turf sprints, you like to have a closer on the ticket. So I use Pulsate with Luis Saez, the 8, and the one that has the most speed is the 9, which is Gidu. So alternatively, I like to have, if I'm doing a multi-race bet, I also like to have the horse with the most speed in the race. So I put the 9 on as well. What am I missing, Mike? Are you deeper than any of those horses, or is there a horse you think should be considered for multi-race bets? What's your take?
I think that there's one horse you should consider, and that would be the 7, Ready for Prime Time. It's Linda Rice on the turf, which is as dangerous as you can get. Mm-hmm. The horse who won last out on Wire to Fire doesn't need the lead. You go 2 back, and she's 1.5, 2.5 off coming around the turn, and was able to close right into it. So she doesn't need a lead. My hope would be that she's just off the 9 turning for home, like a length, and comes with a run. She's second off the layoff, and for some of those tactical angles that some players look at, she's 2 for 2 at Saratoga, and she's 3 for 3 for the distance. And only having 7 races in her life, she's still kind of green and learning. And so you don't know how good this horse is. And based off the layoff race, which she ran a 91, could this horse run a 96, 97, 98 and win by 2? Maybe. We just don't know. And that's what we have to wait and see.
Sure. Let me give you the argument against the horse. You put a positive spin on this horse's lack of experience. I see it as a negative because this is the deepest the horse has ever been in. These are the toughest horses it's ever raced against. And to your point, the horse could very easily go out there and run a 98 and win by 2 lengths. But at the same time, the horse could also go out there, run a 98, and still lose by 2 lengths because the Shecky Shabazz comes in and runs 103 buyer, which the horse has done in the past. So I'm going to pass on the 7. Again, I know it's a scary thing. You see a horse with a chance, but you can't bet them all. So I'm going to pass on this one. If this one wins, then I got to rip up a couple of tickets for a lot of money. So, but then again, as we say, that's horse racing. All right, let's go to the get out race, and let's hope we're not trying to get even for the day on this last race by making a big foolish bet. But if that does happen, to me at least, it wouldn't be the first time. I like the first race. I think this race is extremely challenging. They all seem kind of equal. They're doing a mile on the turf. We don't know what's going to happen. I look at this race and all I see are question marks. So, and on both my tickets, I'm very deep in this race, very deep. So, is that the case? Do you agree with that assessment? I mean, I'll be frank. I'm 6 horses deep here, and I don't know if it's deep. I don't know if I have enough horses. What's your take?
So what I've done in this race, because really the form and all of them suck. I mean, this is a bad race. I wouldn't want to, if you gave me 40,000, I wouldn't claim one of these races.
No,
But,
absolutely not.
So what my angle in which I'm taking on this, because it's a turf race, is I'm going on sheer pedigree. The horses that should like the turf the most. It's a rare thing for me to see a horse with a turf figure of 250, 260, 240 win a turf race. I mean, I just don't see it that often. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the best bred horses for the turf, which would be the 2, 3, 6, 7, 9, 10. And I'm saying these are the turf horses. I'm going to live and die with them, and some of them are at decent prices. The only one that really I could have thrown in because the turf is 252. I really don't like the trainer. It's the 8. But the mare on the mare side was by Northlight, and if you're not familiar with him, he was an Epsom Derby winner. And the Daredevil by More Than Ready. I'm actually kind of shocked that her figure is so low. But if she ran at 63 in the maiden claiming that she won, but really the last two races, I mean, one was off the first, but even at 49 was really bad. So I'm gonna toss the 8 because she does have some of that first pedigree.
Sure. You have 2, 3, 6, 7, 9, 10.
Yep.
Okay, I don't have the 9, which is, as I look here, it may be a risky proposition because let's face it, the horse is coming off a win, and the horse could be in form, but the horse is coming off a win on the dirt in a state bred maiden race. So I don't know. I for some reason I don't like this horse.
And that's weird because like I don't know how to take it. Like you won a maiden race, and you're going into a claiming race, but it was maiden state bred.
Yeah, I just
told me a Brayu is super dangerous.
I don't know. That's it's a weird, stupid move. Why would you want a horse that in its third start won a maiden race, maiden special weight? You would think you could hold on to this horse and go knock out all the conditions in a state bred race. You could win the, allowance 1X, which means, horses that have never won a race besides maiden or claiming. Mm-hmm. And then the 2X, which obviously means, the same thing but 2 races. And 3X, and then I don't know why you wouldn't cash all those checks and then move into the claiming ranks or then other restricted ranks. So I don't know why they would want to give someone a chance to take this horse. So the fact that they're willing to let this horse go for 40,000 when I believe it could make more running, it's like you point out, it's a weird, interesting move. That being said, I wouldn't be surprised if this horse goes to the front now that I'm looking at it. I may have to use this ticket, but I may use this horse on the ticket, but I'll have to find one to take out. I used the 4. You didn't use the 4, and I just the horse left Ken McPeak's barn, and it moves over to Mark Hennig's barn. It's ridden by Jose Lescano, and the horse has some decent buyers. I mean, the horse is only 1 for 12 in its career, so I'm gonna have to make a decision between the 4 and the 9. But I'm 6 horses deep anyway. So when you're obsessing over which horse to use, there's a 6 horse on your ticket. The race is the complete dice roll. So.
Yeah, and adding one to your deeper flag really, it doesn't adjust your ticket as much as adding a horse to the beautiful memory break.
No, it does not. No, adding one to the single, making a single 2 horses doubles the price of your ticket, but adding an extra horse, so maybe that's what I'll just add the horse, and at least on my pick 5 ticket, and just kind of go from there. All right, well, it's definitely a lot of question marks in that last race, so it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. What do you think of the card, this sequence, the pick 5 sequence / pick 4 sequence? Do you think it's difficult sequence, or do you think it's average, or how would you rate this situation here?
Everything comes down to the beautiful memories race. If she wins, it's a decent card because you could easily get prices in the bookend races, the 1st and the 5th. And I like you know, she Shabazz is wide open to lose. He's lost twice in a row at short prices. But he does do a little properly. So would I be shocked if it paid 400? No. Would I be shocked if it paid 3,000? No. And it all depends on that. Yeah, that filly. If she's a monster, it's a good pick five to be in because it lets you go deep in all the other races. You get some prices, and these pick fives pay really well.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, all right, sir. Until next week. Hope you have a great week, and good luck to you, and good luck to all other horse players today, because Lord knows we need it.
You too, Russ. Take care, buddy.
Yeah, take care.